if anybody has watched this, especially at the end, thank you so very much. I really appreciate your time. Okay, we have 30 minutes to record. Audio sync. Hopefully that does it. Okay. A little bit of a different setting. And not that you can tell much, I guess, because I'm just against an infinite white space, but let's get right into things, okay? So, 2 years ago, in 2021, Actually, hang on. Got a better idea. Okay. I have to assume I'm in focus. Okay, good afternoon. Or buenos dias. So 2 years ago, I filmed myself opening up my degree results after my degree took a bit of a nosedive because of the state that the course was run through the pandemic and through the lockdowns that we had. So I filmed this and I opened my degree results up to find that I had completely failed my degree. I didn't pass enough classes in my final year that meant overall I didn't have a degree. It felt like I'd wasted a couple of years of my life, because for all the work I had done and all the good work I had done, in the end it didn't matter. I just sort of edited the video together with what I had, and it went up on July 1st, I want to say. But surprisingly, even though I don't get views on any of the work that I do, this video actually gained some traction. And soon it hit, a couple hundred views, then 500 views, then it hit 1,000 views. And months were going by, and people were commenting really positive things towards me. I do want to go through some of that. Some people were asking questions, some people were relating to it, saying, oh my god, I'm exactly the same, I'm going through this right now, or I did that, or an overwhelming amount of positivity and support in the YouTube comment section, which was, I guess, quite unusual for where it was found as well. I've been very thankful for all the interactions I've had over a video about me failing my degree. But naturally, some people have asked, so what happened? Because I titled it, I failed my degree, now what? And I figured now, 2 years later, would be a good time to kind of say, now what? What happened? What happened next? Initially, I was in the process of, I worked in a retail store, and I was moving from one store to another because it was closer by, and it meant I wasn't wasting as much time in commuting and as much money in petrol for what is a minimum wage retail job. So whilst I moved stores, this was in mid-July, I think I moved like July 10th. I went from Next in Bury the Rock, if you know it, to Next Handforth Dean, which is the total opposite side of Manchester in England, where I live. And I was convinced by my mom to keep trying, that I was able to reset a couple of classes, and whilst I thought it was potentially a waste of time, it's not that I didn't have enough time to do the assignments, it's that I struggled to find focus without a class or a classroom, and I go into that in my video where I failed my degree. And I figured that just trying again wasn't going to yield any different results, that I was still going to feel stagnated by my circumstances. But I did put the effort in. I looked through my failed assignments over my final year, and I realised that I was only for one of the courses, say you need like 50 marks to pass, and I had like 42 marks. And I dawned on me, I was like, I only need 8 marks to make this a pass, and if I pass this assignment, I would pass that class, and then I would pass my degree. I'm 8 marks away from passing my degree. Sure, and I looked through this assignment, and I was surprised at how good it was, because I thought I'd done nothing good in my final year, but no, it's quite a good assignment. And it just kind of ended, it stopped, and I wondered if I ran out of time maybe. And I thought, well, I could go back over my notes, reread the assignment, maybe change a couple things and rewrite a couple things, and make this one assignment a piece of passable work. There was another class. Now, based on the title, I thought I would much prefer the other class, but I had made no progress in that one, so I decided to ignore the ones where nothing was going to change and nothing was going to happen. But I could work really hard to still only get halfway to a pass. Bear with me. Neighbours. So you know, I can't yell at them to shut up because I have to live next to these people for the next few days. I truly hope you can't hear that too well and it's just me. So I focused on okay, let's try and continue. So I honed in on this this one assignment where I was very close to finishing it and passing. And I worked on it night and day. I only need to put in a few hours a day because I had like 3, 4, 5 weeks maybe. I was taking it to work with me during my lunch hour. I would take like a morning shift and an evening shift, and you're given like 3, 4 hours in between. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna sit in the break room where I have a desk or I have a table and a chair, something that's away from my room at home, which at the time was student accommodation, which meant it was away from my Xbox, away from my bed, meaning I couldn't just, phone it off and play Xbox or go to bed or anything. I had to, it was either sit there and stare at the wall or get on with the work, and so I found that quite easy. And to call attention, I did finish that assignment and I did submit it on time, and lo and behold, I did actually pass my degree. So yeah, and somebody spotted this in my Instagram bio. I did change where it said student to graduate, and somebody I think commented on one of my Instagram posts, my latest one at the time, said, hey, I saw your video, it says that you failed your degree, but I noticed you changed your bio to say graduate. I just wondered what happened there. I don't think I ever managed to get back to that person. Maybe this is my way of doing that. But so yeah, so it's currently August 2021. I have just turned my degree around and passed my degree. I now have a glorious piece of paper that cost me an awful lot of stress, tears, and debt, and was maybe worth it. That's hard to say. Would I be where I am now without it? Maybe not, in which case, yeah, it was worth it. Would I go back and do it again? No, I don't think degrees are worth the paper that they are written on. I can't think of any area of my life where I utilise my degree other than that it's written on my resume, my CV. So it's August 2021. I've just passed my degree, thankfully. Then I was fired from my job. I would love to tell that story, but I was fired from my job. I'd only been in my new store very briefly. It had nothing to do with my performance or it had nothing to do with the store I worked at. It was, I have to choose my words carefully for YouTube, but it was the managers from my old store whipped up a couple of lies, and they got a couple of people to write statements based on these lies. They then submitted them to HR for the entire company. It's a big company. And Then, of course, my new manager, store manager, was informed. They did an investigation, and ultimately I was let go. Like I said, a story I'd love to go into another time. So I was fired. So now I was living in accommodation. I had maybe 2-3 weeks left before my tenancy ended there, and I had no idea where I was going to live after that. I had just lost my part-time job, which barely paid anything that was going to get me anywhere after this anyway. But I had a shiny degree, thank God. So I started job hunting. I went to my friend, my friends all have like what I refer to as like proper jobs, like real world jobs. They, work 9 to 5 in certain offices and earn a salary, whereas I ran around a retail store and earned $8.50 an hour, or whatever it was. He gave me a bunch of suggestions, and ultimately I got my CV onto the site. I think it's called CV Library. I will link it below. I definitely recommend it. I interviewed for a couple of jobs, and the final job I interviewed for was one for a company called Tech Mahindra, or Tech M as it was often shortened to. And I got it, and I took it, and I went from earning $4,000 a year and being fired to earning $19,500 a year and working full time. Of course, initially I lost my accommodation, didn't have anywhere to stay, so I went back to my mom's, and I stayed there for a couple of weeks. And then I ultimately moved in with my girlfriend and her parents, and this September, that will have been 2 years ago. It was only meant to be temporary, but we've since decided we're going to save for a house, and so we're going to stay there and save as much as possible so we can move out to bigger and better things. So I'm now working 9 to 5. At the same time, I really needed money, so I took a bartending job, working for somebody I went to high school with. And so within the one weekend in like the end of August, beginning of September, end of August, I worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night, and then Tuesday, I think the 31st of August at 9 a.m. I started my full-time job. And so I was working 5 days a week and the weekend. And I kept that going for as long as I could. I was getting burnt out. It was exhausting. I don't recommend anybody does it. I turned 25 in October, and at the same time I went from being a bartender at that one bar to being the photographer for all of the bars that my friend owned. And that was quite exciting. I really enjoyed that. As exhausting as it was, I gained a lot from that, and I did enjoy it. We parted ways in the February 2022. My other job was a tech support based job. I did tech support for fibre to the cabinet, broadband for TalkTalk. Then I went on to fibre to the property. Then I became an SME, a SME, a subject matter expert in fibre to the property. Then I became a complaints manager for fibre to the property. And then I went to UFO, which was ultra fibre optic, which was the fibre to the property trial that took place in Yorkshire, Dewsbury, and 2 streets in Warrington. And I even managed complaints there very briefly for a few days. So I did a lot, and that led us up to August 2022. I'd earned quite a bit of money. I'd spent quite a bit of money. Megan and I, we went to Disneyland Paris in the July. We walked with alpacas. One of my friends that I worked with, his band hired me to photograph one of their gigs in the February. I got to work with so many people, and I got to know a lot of people, and I do miss them. I do miss working with them, but gotta move on. So now I'm job hunting. It's September 2022. I'm back to job hunting, but this time I'm in a more stable place in life, so I can afford to kind of turn down things that don't interest me. And I wanted to get away from customer service. I spent a lot of my life stood behind bars, over the phone, walking around retail stores, dealing with members of the public. And for anybody that works in the service industry, I'm sure you're with me in this, the public, I'm gonna have to believe that. The public are insufferable and stupid. I imagine most people that are watching this are maybe my age or younger and have these kind of jobs. They do suck a little bit. I think everyone, kind of like how some conscription, where some countries make you have military service, I think everybody should go through some level of customer service experience, because then you'll have a greater appreciation for the work that is done in that. Because people don't, and they treat you like shit, and you're not getting paid nearly enough to deal with that. So when I was looking for my new job, I was like, I'm done with the public. I want something that is office-based. I don't want to work weekends anymore. I want it to be Monday to Friday, maybe a 9 to 5, that sort of time. My demands, my list of requirements, I'd garnered them based on what I didn't like about my past jobs. I didn't interview for any jobs, I think. I allowed my CV to be put forward for a couple that sounded interesting. In the end, I got asked to interview for an admin role for the design team for a company. And I went in, and that was my first ever in-person interview in a very long time. And I think I nailed it. We were in there for quite some time, I think over an hour. Most interviews are like half hour long. I think I was in there for over an hour because we had quite a good rapport going, I like to think. I didn't get the job because they gave it to somebody internally, but the company asked me if I would interview for this other job, which was admin for the planning team. I said, yeah, I would. That was a Teams interview. I was interviewed by two people, and I was successful. Not only was I successful, they actually offered me a better position. I was going to be going for an admin role for $20,000 a year, and I was offered a coordinator role for significantly more. And so I accepted it quite happily, and that was sort of beginning of October 2022, so I'd been unemployed for a month, which was fine. My previous job, I'd been in it a year and a day. My job before that, I'd been in it for 2 years, 3 months, something like that. So yeah, so I landed quite on my feet again and again. Since then, we celebrated New Year's with my friends. My friends announced that they had got the keys to their house. They bought a house, their first one. They're the first of us to do it. They also announced that they're pregnant. They are due in less than a month's time. Like I say, Megan and I made the decision we're going to save for a house, and we're working quite well at that. For her birthday, I took her down to London to see The Lion King on the West End. I had a week off about a month ago, and we travelled out to Liverpool for a day where we did an escape room. We escaped with, I think, 10 minutes to spare, say. That was really good. We then did Chester Zoo, which was a lovely day out in the zoo. I've got really into the past year into shooting film. I don't really shoot digital too much except for filming like this. And then we went to Blackpool for a day and we did an escape room there. That was a much tougher one, but really cool. We escaped with 5 minutes to spare. And then I had this week off, which was the 10th of July until the 14th of July, with weekend either side. My work summer party was last week, and whilst I was there, I ran around with my camera and my gimbal and my film camera and took loads of photos and videos. And somebody asked me if I was free the next weekend, which was the weekend just gone a few days ago, and they asked me to film their sister's wedding. So I did, and during the week, Megan and I booked a very last minute, hectic, panicky, we booked a holiday. I'm currently in Playa Blanca on the island of Lanzarote, which is to the west of Africa, not too far from the equator. In Manchester, England, it was going to be rainy and cold, and it would get up to 20 degrees maybe, but it was going to be rainy and dull the whole week, and I didn't feel like staying home. Whereas here it was going to be low 20s going up to high 20s and low 30s for the week. So we booked last minute flights, a last minute villa for some privacy, and a car rental, and that was done on Thursday. On Friday was my last day of work, and I worked really hard to clear my emails, so I had nothing outstanding. I was not leaving anything that needed actioning. On Saturday, I drove out about 30 miles to go to this cool converted church, where I filmed a wedding. I thought it was a wedding party, it turned out to be an actual wedding. Ran around on my feet all day, and then I got home and we finished packing. We never went to sleep. I got home at 9 p.m. Our taxi came and got us at 2:30 in the morning. We got on a plane at 5:30 in the morning, and we landed about 10 in the morning. We picked up a car and we drove here, and by the time we got here we'd been awake for like 35-40 hours. In the space of 2 days being fully awake, I filmed a wedding, flew to another island, drove to on the wrong side of the car, on the wrong side of the road, and drove to our villa, and we lasted till about 5, 6, 7 p.m. and then we both sort of passed out. Could not stay awake any longer. So that's that. I'm sure I'm missing some things, but sort of recap. I failed my degree, and then passed my degree. I was fired. I got a job that earned me 4 times as much, as well as a spare job to earn me a nice side income. I was promoted within that job. In my main job, I was promoted like 4 or 5 times to different departments and different areas. I've been to London to watch a West End show. I've been to Paris to go through Disneyland, and we went on scooters, lime scooters, 6 miles all the way through Paris to go and find the Eiffel Tower and take portraits in front of it. I quit my job. I got a new job. I watched 8 out of 10 Casters Countdown live. We've been on this holiday now, of course. We've flown again. I got to drive a car in a foreign country again. I've shot a lot of rolls of film. I started getting back into YouTube. I started producing a lot more. That failed degree video hit 7,000 views and still continues to just gain a little bit here and there as we go through. Okay, I've been rambling and talking for an hour. My throat is killing me. I'm probably gonna have to do this again anyway, because this is too long for anybody to pay attention to. If anybody has watched this, especially at the end, thank you so very much. I really appreciate your time. If you failed your degree, don't worry about it. It's not the end. Use the link below. I'm not sponsored by anybody, obviously. I'm nobody. But the link below is what helped me get my jobs and got me to where I am now. To the point where on Thursday, 5 days ago, I shrugged my shoulders and bought a holiday. And 3 days later, I was flying out and picking up the keys to my rental car. That ain't bad. Anyway, I'm gonna go for a swim. That's the hour mark. Thank you so much. Bye everybody. Appreciate you. Love you all. Have a great day and stuff.
Batteries and the Canon battery. That's a roundabout. We've got a big journey ahead. Let's use it all, film as much as possible. Yeah? Come home with loads.